I'm Stefanie Murray from the Center for Cooperative Media here at Montclair State University. I'm going to tell you more about our program, our mission, and some of the key projects that we execute here at Montclair State University. But before I even begin, I want to share a quote from one of our key funders. Molly De Aguiar is with the Dodge Foundation, who has been a funder of the center since we launched, more than 5 years ago now. And she recently said that we have lived up to the hopes and the vision that Dodge had when they helped launch us, which is a huge deal for us. And she's convinced that we need more centers like ours across the country. So I'll use that to set the stage for the Center for Cooperative Media. So I'll start by telling you a little bit about our mission. Our mission is to support local journalism for residents in the state of New Jersey. We started as a support system for hyper-local news organizations, but over the last 5 years we've grown, and we work with news organizations all across the country and around the state of New Jersey as well, which I'll tell you more about. So the Center for Cooperative Media also houses the New Jersey News Commons, and that's our core project. That's our flagship project. That's really how we got started, and it's how a lot of folks in New Jersey know the Center for Cooperative Media. But it is a flagship project under the center here at Montclair State University. So who we are, we have currently 4 staffers at the Center for Cooperative Media. Myself, Stefanie Murray, I'm the director. Joe Amditis is our associate director, and he runs the New Jersey News Commons, the flagship project I mentioned that I'll tell you more about in a moment. Sarah Stonbely is full-time with us as well, and she is our research director. And we also have a project editor right now, Carla Barnakis, and she's running our local national news partnerships project on behalf of the center. So I'm going to give you an outline of some of the work that the center does and looking at some of our core projects. First of all, as I mentioned, the New Jersey News Commons, that's our flagship project, and that's what we're most well known for. The local National News Partnerships Project, which I mentioned a moment ago, Carla Baranakis is overseeing, is another key piece of the puzzle here at the center. And that's a national project where we're studying the intersection between national news organizations and how they're working or not working with local news organizations around the country. I'm very proud of the fact that we also are building an international program around collaborative journalism. Collaborative journalism is something that we've seen rise in our industry quite a lot in the last 5 to 10 years especially, and that's the act of news organizations working together to cover news of importance to local communities and the nation as well. And we've been developing a national community talking around what's happening in collaborative journalism, and we've also been coordinating and funding local projects as well. We are currently in the middle also of a national social media program in partnership with the Knight Foundation and Facebook. That is working with, probably more than 250 news organizations across the country right now that we can touch through this project. We've been helping them better understand how they can leverage social media, especially Facebook, and other platforms as well, including Google, Twitter, etc. We also, of course, do research. We research in the area of local journalism on a variety of topics. Currently, we're in the middle of a large project that's examining local news deserts in the country with a focus on developing a model in New Jersey, because this has been a key topic of conversation as news organizations have been downsizing and shutting down. There are a lot of places in this country, even in New Jersey, where there's no news anymore. That's a big focus of our research agenda. We also have been doing more consulting on collaborative projects and cooperative news networks. We do phone calls, video calls, and we've done some in-person consulting as well. That's something that we're probably going to look to build as more of our program over the next few years, especially because it can bring in extra revenue to help support that work that we do here at Montclair State. And of course, communication, that's what we're probably most well known for. We do a daily newsletter. We coordinate Facebook groups, Slack groups, and we regularly write. And our articles are picked up in some of the national trade publications. We've been quoted in Neiman Lab, Columbia Journalism Review, and even the New York Times over the last year. So I'll tell you a little bit more, go deeper on a couple of these projects. The New Jersey News Commons. So we currently work with 250 news organizations and about 30 freelancers who are members of the New Jersey News Commons across New Jersey. We're also in the midst right now of launching a New Jersey College News Commons, which I'm really excited about. That will help network college news organizations across our state in the same way that we've been networking professional news organizations through the New Jersey News Commons. So through the News Commons, our group, we provide networking, we help them share content, we help coordinate collaborations, we do communication, And we also put on and attend a lot of trainings and events. That's really a cornerstone of the News Commons, is providing support and training for news organizations around the state. And our members include everyone from public media in the state, WNYC, WHYY, and JTV, to some of the large legacy news organizations you may be familiar with, the Star-Ledger, the Record, all the way down to some of the hyperlocals, Morristown Green up the road in Morristown, Red Bank Green, New Brunswick Today, Route 40 down in Atlantic City, and many, many more as well. So we take in operational funding. We also take in project funding at the Center for Cooperative Media. So some of the funded and ongoing projects we have for this year, a few of these I've already mentioned, but this is our full list right now. So we're continuing to build out the News Commons. We're building out that local national news partnerships project, the social media project, and collaborative journalism. We've also been running Voting Block, which was a project last year that was a collaborative effort in New Jersey to get local news organizations to help bring citizens together to have conversations over a meal about issues of importance to them in their community ahead of the governor's race last year. And we are working on expanding that nationally ahead of the midterms this year. We also are continuing research into news deserts. As I mentioned, that's been a focus for us. And we've done some literature review, and we've done a little bit of digging to lay the groundwork for a national project. We expect to launch into that national project later this year. We're also currently researching the impact of collaborative journalism projects around the country, and we have a research study coming out soon that examines what makes a hyperlocal newsroom effective. So these are some of our funded and ongoing projects for this year. So funding is a key part of my job, raising money to help support the center here at Montclair State, and helping make sure that we have money to fund projects as well. So this is an overview of our current funding, or our funding from last year rather. This is 2016-17 operational and project funding. You'll see we took in foundation funding from some of the largest journalism funders in the country, including the Dodge Foundation, Democracy Fund, here locally in New Jersey, the Dodge Foundation, wonderful supporter of the center and of Montclair State University. We also did a couple of big events in the 2016-17 year, including 2 national conferences that helped bring in event sponsorships as well. So our operating budget last year was about $410,000. This year it's grown to $640,000. So we're slowly building up as we increase our capacity, as we continue to put on impactful projects that help the university and that help the local journalism ecosystem in our state. Our funding has been going up. So this year we are, of course, again, taking in funding from the Dodge Foundation, Knight, and Democracy Fund. We've also added project support from Facebook and event sponsorships from a variety of corporate sponsors. So that's also helping extend our brand, extend our name, and to support some of our work. So some key accomplishments that I'd love to point out in a few different areas, and we'll start with funding. We've worked a lot over the last few years on strengthening and rebuilding relationships with funders. That's been really important for the center because we are a grant-funded program based here at Montclair State University, and we need to bring in money to continue to do this important work. We've also been proud of the fact that we've been engaging some new funders. We have brought on Google, Facebook, Rita Allen Foundation, and a number of corporate sponsors who are joining us this year. And that includes many corporate sponsors, which are new to the center. We've really been focused on foundational funding previously, but I'm trying to expand and add additional corporate sponsors and earned revenue, as I mentioned, building and consulting to some of the work that we do too. And we're always, of course, working with other potential new funders. Some key accomplishments in the area of research that are important to highlight. I mentioned Sarah Stonbly earlier. I introduced her as a member of the center. We published our first research white paper under her leadership about a year ago after North Jersey Media Group did a big layoff in the state. And we studied the impact that would have on New Jersey. And that was widely cited. It was picked up in the New York Times, in the Columbia Journalism Review, and Nieman Lab at Harvard, among other places. Also very proud that we published a 70-page white paper last year that's been cited actually now around the world about models of collaborative journalism. So we examined different ways that news organizations are working with each other, came up with a matrix of 6 models and presented that, and that's continuing to get great attention for us, and it's helping us develop our collaborative program more overall as well. We are presenting in Prague in June at the International Communication Association our paper that is a first look at news deserts, which I mentioned before. This is the literature review. And so we're very excited that that was accepted to a prestigious conference, and Sarah will be traveling to Europe to present that paper. The hyperlocal paper I mentioned, I'm proud of. And then also, probably in the next few weeks here, we will be publishing a paper that examines how citizens in New Jersey feel about their local news. And there will be some interesting insights that come out of that. One of the biggest headlines is that we've heard from citizens that they're really lacking in local government news, which is probably no surprise, but we have data now to back that up. Another key accomplishment of the center is the convenings that we've put on. We do national conferences regularly. In the past, we've done conferences around engagement, innovation, and business sustainability. And last year, we held our first Collaborative Journalism Summit. In May 2018, we'll have our next Collaborative Journalism Summit. And we expect about 200 people here at Montclair State University from around the United States, and we have some international attendees as well. This is a long list because I'm very proud also of our collaborations and partnerships that we've been able to build over the last 2 years. We are part of an advocacy effort right now in the state to create the New Jersey Civic Information Consortium, where we are part of a group of universities that is encouraging the state government to set aside a pool of money that will help fund local media experiments in local media over the next few years. We've been collaborating with news organizations on Voting Block. We have deepened ties with New America Media, which is now going through some transitions, but it's what was the largest ethnic media network in the country. We've been working with several universities on the research projects I cited earlier. We've been partnering with the American Press Institute. We're frequently quoted in the trade press. Partnerships and being a connector is a really key part of what we do. That's important because it helps us further our reach and our mission, but it also really helps the university because it's helping get our journalism program connected to some of the most prestigious, well-known, most well-run, and the most impactful journalism projects in the country. So this is really important for us to be able to collaborate and partner well. Of course, I mentioned training. I mentioned conferences, convenings. It's a really critical part of what we do. We annually hold about 12 to 15 workshops on lots of different topics that are of interest to local journalists, as well as the national conferences that I mentioned before. This year, we've done workshops on podcasting, social media, push notifications, a legal seminar, and we've worked quite a bit with ethnic media in the state. We also have been continuing to develop stronger ties with the School of Communication and Media as our program develops here at the school, and we bring on more faculty and add to our roster of classes. We've been trying to make sure that our programs have a connection to the school, a strong connection. We work regularly with the Summer Journalism Institute here at the School of Communication and Media. We participate regularly with WMSC. Our students participate and work at our conferences, which is great networking. We've worked together with faculty and research recently, and of course we always invite faculty to help moderate or participate or even run sometimes our workshops or trainings and our events. As I mentioned too, we're getting our name out there, which is great. Great for the university, great for us, and helps share the good work that we're doing. We've been quoted in a variety of news publications over the last year. And so what's next? What's next for the center? We have a lot of things on our plate right now for 2018 into 2019. We're getting ready to set up an advisory board this fall, which we hope will help further our mission and help us expand our reach. We're continuing to grow the New Jersey News Commons. That we've gotten excellent feedback that this is a huge resource. As you saw on the very first slide, one of our funders is convinced that because of this program, the New Jersey News Commons, we could create centers like this across the country. We're continuing to execute our research agenda. We're working on ways that journalism organizations can develop their local news business models. We're continuing that Facebook Night project I mentioned earlier, continuing to grow our national influence in collaborative journalism. And two big things that you'll see out of us next year, including working to increase diversity in the media ecosystem in the state of New Jersey. That includes making newsrooms more diverse, as well as making the stories that we tell more inclusive. And also we're working to establish more partnerships with libraries. This is something we've seen momentum on across the country. And we think that there could be great potential to work with libraries in New Jersey and connect them to journalists and communities. So that's some of what's coming up next for us. We have a full plate for 2018, 2019. I'm proud of what the center's accomplished, and I hope you'll follow us as we continue to do great things over the next year.